There's only 2 games on today, so I debated, oh, do I even bother? So I'll make it relatively quick. The other thing that I noticed, Paul Martin clears waivers and goes to the minors. The interesting thing with Paul Martin, currently the San Jose Sharks, well, San Jose Barracuda, is that he was in the Olympics in 2014. It's a shame the San Jose Sharks couldn't loan him to the U.S. Olympic team, isn't it? They're not going to play him. Might help him rediscover his game. Isn't that too bad? They'd probably do it, but they can't. It's just a thought I had while I was getting ready to do this. Looking at stats and seeing, hey, played in the Olympics. And it's another example of how quickly a veteran can just drop off the radar. He didn't have bad totals last year. This year, 3 games. Sorry, there's no room for you. We can't find a taker for your contract, so you're going to the minors. When he gets waived, 30 other GMs go, yeah, it's not really for us. It's just weird. All right. Pittsburgh's in Anaheim. This is a game between the Pittsburgh. It looks like they're going to be steamrollers again. And the Anaheim, are we going to contend or are we going to go home franchise? Key game for these teams. Can Pittsburgh maintain their success on the road? Early on in the season, Pittsburgh very good at home, spotty on the road. Then they became spotty in both. Now they've become very good again. Can it translate to a Western road trip? Can they win games against cities like Anaheim? And for Anaheim, this is a litmus test. Absolutely. Here come the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions. You want to prove that you are not just trying to run to make a Stanley Cup playoff spot, but that you're a contender in doing so. This is one of those nights. Kessler has to shut down Crosby. Getzlaf has to match up with Malkin. That's my guess. If I had to guess where the matchups are going to fall anyways. And they have to do it with Cogliano, which of course still has a lot of fans angry. A lot of fans were a lot angrier than I am about it. I understand it, but as I said in my video where I discussed it, I really think this could be a good thing for Cogliano in the long run. That he's allowed to rest now if he needs it. Montreal 18-20-6 in Boston against the 24-10-8 Bruins. Montreal's tantalizingly close to winning games, but that doesn't really help. They can put together a string of overtime losses, and they'll keep them in shouting distance of respectability, but they have to win games, and they have to win them in regulation. They can't be giving points to teams they're against, especially the Bruins, who are ahead of them. Of course, they lost to the Bruins in a shootout on Saturday. I do treat those as ties. And for Boston, it's kind of started to come off. Like I said, they beat Montreal in a shootout, and then they lost to Dallas in overtime. I am having some concerns that now Boston has peaked and they're back on their way down. And that does happen. January. I think that is part of the reason why the bye weeks are in January. Teams are tired, it's hard to focus mentally, and you can pile up some losses while you're in that kind of blah mindset. I'm not saying Boston's there, but they haven't been as impressive the last couple of games as they were before that. And here's Montreal again. And on Saturday, it's Montreal again. I said at the outset these games could help to decide the standing of Montreal as to whether or not they can go on a run. And that if Boston could win all three, it could go a long way to A, being those nails in the coffin for the Montreal Canadiens, and B, maybe solidifying their spot as number 2 in the division. Toronto loses in overtime last night to the St. Louis Blues at home. Good game for St. Louis. And Toronto inexplicably blows one in the last minute of the third period. Now Boston has to take advantage. With their many games in hand, they have to take advantage. I will be very interested to watch this game. Again, I work this morning from 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock this afternoon. For those of you on the East Coast, it's 11 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock your time. And it does take a large bite out of what I was doing with this channel during that last month. But it's been an interesting month anyways. For those who don't know, I'm going to throw this in here. My other channel got hit last night, and it's different. So YouTube's back to every video I do gets flagged now. We're back. It took a month and a half. It's like they said, all right, it's January. Oh, his revenues are already low. Bam! We're going to make them even lower. Every video now gets flagged. All of them. If you see ads, watch ads. As far as I know, they serve to me as long as they're on the videos. There's a delay in them getting flagged. They don't get flagged as soon as I put them up unless there's some controversial title or some controversial thumbnail. That's why I was doing the thumbnails I was doing, to try to stop getting flagged. I thought, all right, if I have a bunch of black space, that's why they were boring. There's a bunch of black space because if they're boring, I figured then they won't get flagged. Because boring thumbnails are supposed to help. Nah, it doesn't matter. And it's not a copyright thing. It has nothing to do with the NHL. But in their wisdom, YouTube's decided that there's not enough watched hours on my other channel, the entertainment guy. So I'm going to link it in the description for this video. Anybody who wants to subscribe, awesome. What it's comprised of, the entertainment guy, is anything related to TV, video games, and anything. Really, movies. Yvonne and I review movies together. We watch them, and then I do our live reactions. Usually I've made her watch some horror movie I really enjoyed in the 80s. I spend the time just beaming about how great it is, and she just can't believe she watched that crap, is basically their reaction. And they've done well, but they haven't done well enough. In YouTube's eyes, they don't look at anything other than the amount of watch hours in the last, I think it's 12 months. That's be 4,000 hours in 12 months. I feel bad for people with small channels right now. And I'm talking about channels with 2,000 or less subscribers, because if you don't do long videos and you don't do, if you just do quick hits, you may not get 4,000 hours. I'm bewildered as to how that stat was arrived at, because what happened was they hit that channel, geez, was it 6 months ago now? They hit it and they said you can't be monetized because you have less than 1,000 subscribers, and I thought, oh, okay. So I busted my ass and did videos for it to get to 1,000 subscribers. It doesn't make money, really. It doesn't. But it's my fun little project, and I would hate to see it get demonetized so that I have to go through the monetization process again on that channel. I've done it twice. And like I said, I feel bad for people with small channels or people starting out. It's like, oh, you want to get monetized? Sorry, you have to have 1,000 subscribers. Okay, alright, now I've got 1,000 subscribers. But do you have 4,000 hours of watch time in the last year? Because that's what's important to us. Every time there's a controversy on YouTube, they hit the small providers. And I don't say that to complain. I say that because that's been my experience. And I don't have some corporate malfeasance, narrative. It's, you deal with what you deal with when a company's got a monopoly. So, as I said, I would appreciate just, if people like that channel, watch a couple videos here and there. And I'm going to start doing live streams on that channel as well. That should fix the 4,000 hour problem pretty darn quick. Because yeah, I'm not doing this. I've got till February 20th to get there. I should be able to get there. Because I used my trusty calculator last night. It's 3,189 hours my channel's got in view time. To me, that's a lot. That's a lot of time. But to YouTube, it's like, it's not big enough. And I don't get it. I don't get it. All right. Anyways, thank you guys very much for indulging me. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Let me know who you think's going to win tonight. I'm going to try to get home as quickly as I can to watch this, because that's going to be fun. And then maybe watch some of that. I don't work tomorrow, so tomorrow we're going to have a full slate of videos. We're going to have some fun with it. So I look forward to doing that with you guys. But between now and then, thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.